everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our August webinar. My name is Gertrude Sumedu, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Global Activist Network. For today's webinar, we are excited to speak to a chainmaker all the way from Bangladesh in the person of Mir Abu Reyad. I hope I got your name correct. So today we'll be speaking to Mr. Reyad on the topic Grassroots to Global, leading with intersectional feminism and amplifying gender diverse voices. And so please stay tuned for this conversation. So before we get into the conversation, let's get to know our speaker a bit more. So Mir Abu Reyad is the president and co-founder of Brave Dimension Global, a registered feminist nonprofit advancing intersectional change in Bangladesh. The organization works across gender justice, inclusive education, climate action, and transnational solidarity, centering historically marginalized communities. A non-binary intersectional feminist from the Global South, Mr. Reyad brings over 14 years of experience advancing human rights for communities affected by gender-based discrimination, forced migration, sexual oppression, and climate vulnerability. Mir's academic background in applied sociology, combined with leadership fellowships and advanced training at the Swedish Institute and the Oxford University, informs a strong rights-based approach. Amazing. On behalf of the whole team at GAN, I would like to thank you for making time for today's conversation, and welcome.
Thank you so much for this lovely introduction. So I can go with my little bit of introduction that is not there, but yeah, I'd love to know our audience to know about a little bit more of myself. Yeah. And of course the organizer as well. So when I submitted this proposal, so it was long before, right? So within this period of time, there have been so much of development within our organization, within our activism, in my personal life as well, with my educational background, with my career as well. So if I can count on that, so I got a scholarship, and it was a prestigious scholarship between Bangladesh government and Cambridge University. So that is added to this conversation and my career as well. With that scholarship, I got to know more about Paris Agreement, climate justice, and how it is connected to gender diverse community. So it's an opportunity, it's a lifetime opportunity for a person like me. So yeah. So that could be added to my career next time when there will be introduction.
Of course. But thank you for adding that. So you're doing really incredible work in Bangladesh, and you have years of experience as well doing so. And I'm sure there's much more to what we've heard about you. So can you start by telling us a bit more about yourself as a person, as a change maker, and what inspired you to do this work that you're doing?
If we go back 14 years back, so that time it was not something I would tell I was being very much encouraged to work with these issues, or maybe, so it was not like that, but it started from there when I feel person like me, I really like to contribute something to my community, the community I belong to. Then I find it out it is not only one particular section of the community, but it is more intersectional. So then I find it out okay, so when it is intersectional, so that time intersectionality was not that much of popular in this world. It was more like segregation, you want to work with this or then that. So it was like that. So then the intersectional part of myself, because I'm a mixed person myself, as I said earlier, that is that my personality is more mixed with my genetic, it is my parents section, so it is Arabic and Bangladeshi, so it is more in there. So then it is I had exposure to asylum seeking, refugee status for myself in early career of my life. Then I had the sex workers experience. I had of course from grassroots organizations activism, I had those experiences as well. So then not from a underprivileged background, but from a privileged background, I have that opportunity to work with some upper class section of my country as well, and South Asia, mostly South Asia and then in Europe and later on in my career. So then I find it out like, so it is more like intersectional part of that. So then I started as a gender equality. Then I find it that gender equality is pretty much connected to climate justice. Then it is very much connected to education. So what we came into our like organizational profile, that we should work with these particular issues and not all the like SDGs 17 issues, So then we find it those important part what we have exposed, like not only me but other team members of my organization. So we decided to like, let's go into these focus areas that we can just more contribute and just to bring much more like pressure to come to some kind of leadership, or maybe making some leadership as well. So that was the first time when personally myself I believe like this intersectional feminism is something that will bring like some kind of light, not 14 years back, but right now when I'm talking to you. Because like intersectional feminism is very much popular in this world. People are talking so much about these things, but back to 14 years back, it was not like that. So that is something I really like, kind of like geared myself, like I should continue with this journey to like particularly work with my community, and then later on some other issues that come and join into this intersectional part. So I'd say like that was my journey back to 14 years ago. In that time. So yeah, so that was my inspiration that I wanted to say actually, in my overall conversation.
Yeah, so it sounds like your personal experience has really shaped your journey, or why you decided to venture into this field, that's intersectional feminism. But we'll get into that conversation very soon. But just kind of like a follow-up on what you kind of touched on. So when you look back from where you started to where you are now, how would you say you've transformed as a change maker, from where you were, let's say about 15 years ago, and where you are now as Abu Reyad? What would you say has changed in your journey as a change maker?
Okay, so when I look back, that time I was just learning. I was like reading. I was just watching some movies. Those are very inspirational. So I was trying to like know more about the personalities or activists who are working with these issues from like all over the world. So I used to know their name, getting their like stories for my inspiration and all those things. So it started from that kind of like a bookish journey of myself. And then I started working with some organizations totally focused on gender diverse community in Bangladesh and in some other South Asian countries, like prominent organizations. So there I got some kind of exposure to like volunteer with them, then came to like organize events with gender diverse population. So it was kind of a thing, and it was something like I used to do in my personal life as well. Like I had some bunch of friends, we used to like get together, we used to hang out, potluck is there, picnic is there, like we were having some kind of fun discussion, serious discussion, what was happening to our journey and all those things, So then when I was formalizing myself into like this volunteerism, then working with some kind of project proposals, so then I find it out like, okay, so this is something very important, and I was like trying to accommodate other people into this kind of volunteerism or something. But there is something always lacking in volunteerism, that you are wasting some time. You are giving your like valuable, maybe some kind of donation as well, maybe some kind of and when you were talking, when it is connecting to Bangladeshi cultural, social, institutional, and religious perspective as well. So when you are working with these kind of issues, you got those kind of backlashes from your family, friends, and other people as well. Even in your institution, in your like college or in your like universities, people think like, okay, so you are working with these issues. That means maybe you are part of that kind of particular community, and that community is like illegal in Bangladesh constitution. So people have some kind of like bad idea about it. I'm really like cut to say in that way, So then, so I find it out like when I was trying to accommodate those people into volunteerism, and they had this kind of like, okay, so you just go forward, we'll follow you. So it was in that way, you know. So nobody wanted to come forward. So I feel it like, okay, so look, one need to come forward, and then that time I was feeling like maybe I can do it better, because it is also my family background and my, I would not say courage, but I was feeling like, okay, so I can do it. You know, those kind of confidence came into my, like, everything, so it started from there. Then when I started like working with other people, like not only with the gender diverse population or gender diverse organizations, but other ally organizations, big organizations. You know, Bangladesh has so many of the NGOs, so many of the countries they don't have. And if you know, like the biggest and most prominent NGO in this world is from Bangladesh right now. That is BRAC. So many of these like ally organizations, so many of the like diverse organizations are coming together. So we had meeting, we had events, we're talking about feminism, we're talking about gender diverse population. So we had so many of these kind of things, and these give me so much inspiration that I can do it much more better. So you know, so then I feel it I felt it like, okay, so when I'm working with this kind of like organization, so why not I'm doing something for for myself or for my people whom I used to know. So because when you are working with some organizations, they have their own kind of like rules, regulation, way of journey, and then you maybe sometimes you are not matching with that kind of thought process, you know, or maybe your like theory is not matching with them. So sometimes you feel left out, and then you feel like, okay, so why I'm not initiating something? Why I'm just working for them? Why I'm not working for myself? So then I started like thinking in different ways, and Brave Dimension Global was one of the journeys I had, and it was not in Bangladesh actually; it was in Sweden. So that time, maybe I'll go into that later on if you have some other questions, like how Brave Dimension Global has been formed. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for shedding light on the incredible work that you've done so far for the past 14 years and more. Now, we'll come to the work that you're doing with Brave Dimension Global in detail in a bit, but let's start from what intersectional feminism is, in case someone is listening, watching, and they have no idea of what that means. What would you say? What would you say that term kind of means?
Yeah, maybe I'll go into that. And already I told about like my own journey as intersectional feminist. So then, yeah, maybe I can give some example like that. Like when I'm talking about Bangladesh. So when I'm talking about gender diverse population, it's not only this population is from like this upper class, or maybe from the only the Bengali like a Bengali race, but indigenous community has gender diverse population as well. Those people are like sex workers community has gender diverse population. Then we have climate vulnerable population. They are also coming from gender diverse populations. There is so much of this intersectional part. It is not only the gender equality or gender inequality. It comes with like some other diversity that comes with gender equality as well. So I'd say gender diverse population is not only part of like Bangladeshi community, but also, you know, like we are accommodating like around more than 1 million of Rohingya refugees, and there are so many of the Rohingya refugees, they are coming from gender diverse population, and they are living within the camp. They don't have like basic knowledge like what is happening to their life. They are exposed to HIV/AIDS, STD, STI. They don't have any kind of facility to mental health support. They don't go outside of that camp to getting any kind of support, like any kind of safe house. They can just talk about like what they are having with their journey. Maybe their like marital life. Maybe they're intimidated partnership. Maybe they are like relationship. So they are having some kind of gender-based violence within the camp. They don't have anybody to talk to, like anyone like who is professional, you know. So what they are doing, we have a we're very fortunate enough to have a our helpline number that is particularly for these Rohingya refugees who are from gender diverse community, for sex workers who are from gender diverse community. So we kept this option open that they can just call and they can just talk to us. So we had this kind of call, we had more than 50 calls within a month or two. I forgot right now. We started this journey from I think 1 year earlier, so 1 year or 2 year. So yeah, we got this kind of call. So this intersectionality, and now you can just count it from there. Refugee, they are part of gender diverse community. Then indigenous community, they are part of gender diverse community. Then we have sex workers, they are part of gender diverse community. Then we're talking about marginalized community, maybe they are. I think we talked about that some days earlier. You told about the Chittagong. So we have this Chittagong, one of the part of Bangladesh. We have 3 districts within Chittagong. We call it Indigenous Peoples District.
Yeah.
So then
I did mention to you that we had one of them come on our webinar to speak. I think last year. Yeah.
Yeah. We had this discussion actually. Mm-hmm. So I was speaking from there. So not only these 3 districts, there are some other districts. We have indigenous population over there. So they are not that much of recognized, because these 3 districts we have more indigenous people, and those people are very prominent people. They get some kind of benefit from government. So those people are there. But we already forgot about those people. They are also part of indigenous community. They also have gender diverse population, but they got little bit of attention. But they don't belong to these 3 districts. They belong to other districts. But those people are not that much of. They are marginalized within the indigenous community. So we talk about them. We really like to bring shade to their life as well, because their life has been been into so much oppression. They don't get even the recognition as a tell, and they don't get some kind of basic rights from government, because they are part of marginalized within marginalized community. So their rights come in after so many of the layers. So we really like to bring their perspective into this feminism. So you can see right now, right, that so much of this intersectional part comes into these layers and layers and layers into this feminism. So if somebody has no idea what is intersectional feminism, I think this kind of example can bring them that perspective. Okay, so this is this. So one person can be into so much of this intersectionality. So it is beyond class. It is beyond any kind of segregation. It is beyond of soci identity. It is beyond of any kind of economic section or something. So it is beyond, much more beyond of that. So yeah. So I think I was giving the answer.
Yeah. You have answered the question. Thank you so much for giving those brilliant examples to back up your point as well. So the theme or our topic for today is grassroots to global, and that highlights actions at different levels or multiple levels. So how do you, as a change maker, with the work that you're doing, how do you ensure that local voices and lived experiences remain central in global conversations in gender equality?
So when I talk about grassroots, so what is grassroots? So we already know. So this is also connected to Better Global as well, our organization. So we started this journey in Sweden. That was a fabulous country to be in. So we started the journey when I was getting the scholarship to be in Sweden for Swedish Institute program, and that time we South Asian activists, exile activists, wanted to we were in Sweden, but we wanted to help our countries. So in many ways, So then Red Dimension Global started as a platform, and then when I came back to Bangladesh, I wanted to bring this journey working for gender diverse population in Bangladesh. So we started in Dhaka, our capital, but later on I found it out like there are so many things that happening to Dhaka, like so many events, so many like training programs, workshops, and everything. So, but my home country is like in a grassroots city, but it is one of the major cities in North Bengal. So then I was there and I was talking to gender diverse population over there, and they wanted to like they were having so much complaint about like why everything is about Dhaka. So then I decided like why we are not starting our like everything here. Like maybe that time we started our journey there in that city I'm talking about. So that is grassroots for me. Like when people, there are so many people, they can't really get access to like with the big cities or any kind of training program. They don't get that access or they don't get the opportunity. But you can bring that to like to their house, to that place where they are. So like far from the like the main city, far from like big cities. So so we started our like headquarters in that city, and right now we have like big office there. So regularly we meet people who don't have like any kind of like safe space to talk about or talk to. Even like have some kind of mental health trauma, they don't know where to go. They can come to our office. They can just talk to us. We have like mental health professional there. And as I said, like we have like a helpline number. They can just call there and just talk to us. Then we initiated there some project as well. Right now we are trying to have a registration. So we already have like a registration. It is like 501c. Like it's a non-profit registration from America. So according to Bangladeshi constitution, right now we are an international organization working in Bangladesh. But when we want to like properly want to be a Bangladeshi organization working for Bangladeshi community in Bangladesh, we need a Bangladeshi registration, and we are under that process. We are under social welfare ministry. So I think within 1 or 2 months we will be there. We'll get it. So so then our work will be much more fast, much more like. We'll get much more confident that I can mention, because so many of the Bangladeshi like organization working in Bangladesh, they also don't consider ourselves a Bangladeshi organization. In some cases, we don't get that partnership opportunity here, including funding as well. So many of the organizations, they really like to like get some Bangladeshi like grassroots organization to be partner with them to work with this particular community. So we have some kind of lackings over there, but we'll be there. I can promise you that. So yeah, that is something I really want to mention.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, and also for talking us through the work that you're doing towards getting registered in Bangladesh. And I do hope it's a smooth process for you. Keeping my fingers crossed, because I know it can be a bit strenuous trying to get that done. Especially in developing countries. Okay, so can you share a moment when amplifying the voice of a gender diverse individual in your community led to meaningful impact or systemic change?
Okay, coming to this particular question, I would love to give an example. What we actually, as an organizer or as a grassroots organization, what we did. And that is very, very much like proud moment for us, because we brought that whole concept to some of the international organizations or some of our international partners, and some of the countries actually. We did promote this initiative. So we had an opportunity to work with like IPPF, Zoom, and Youth Voice Count. So those kind of organizations, they had some kind of initiative to like work with their partner organization, and luckily we are one of the partner organization of this particular initiative. What they do, so we got a little bit of funding to develop one storytelling, like a documentation of some kind of like something incredible, what is not shown to the world. So that was the concept basically. So something that is not common, something we need to tell the world that this kind of particular intersectionality also exists within Bangladesh. So that was kind of a concept we wanted to bring it to the world. That was one of our partner organizations. So she was heading that organization, and she was a gender diverse sex worker from early 90s. So, and one of the prominent activists, but because of so many of the backlashes, or maybe some of her personal journey, she has lost her inspiration or anything, and that organization still doesn't exist. But that person exists. So I had a good contact with her when I was in Sweden. Then I came here, and then I had eye contact with her, and I wanted to bring her stories to the world. And when this initiative was there for us to bring her into that picture, we approached her, and she was that much of dedicated and still had that kind of charm to tell the world that what she was going through, what was her identity, and that is part of intersectionality as well. So, because I was giving this kind of description, because it is important to bring this story in the journey as well. So it is a story of a displaced gender diverse sex worker who was an activist earlier, then who had a journey of being stigmatized within the community, how the whole gender diverse community cornered her because of her work, because of her sex worker identity, within gender diverse population, if you are a drug addict or maybe drug user or a sex worker, still there is stigma within the community that okay, so that person is using drugs, that means we need to avoid that person. This is here this. I think this is not only in Bangladesh or within Bangladeshi gender diverse population, but it is almost in everywhere. Still people have that kind of stigma. And when you are having when you are part of sex worker, and you are part of this intersectionality of gender diverse population, people still believe that okay, so you are a bad person, because you are selling sex.
Yeah.
So nobody is going back to her or his or their personal journey, how she or he or they is into this kind of journey. So then we wanted to bring that journey, how she was being part of this climate vulnerability. Then the family was being disowned her because she was the only earning member. Then she has to alone going through her journey, how she was being part of sex worker community, and then how she has to she was part of lesbian group, but then she has to sleep with men. So how that journey came. So it was a journey of a proper turbulence, and then how can I input it here? I still don't know, but that was the journey. Then we brought that story, and it was kind of a emotional journey as well for other people who were part of that team of making this documentary from that shoot to editing everywhere. And then we had the opportunity to premiere this to Thailand. That was our first premiere. So we premiered this to non-binary convening in Thailand last year. Yeah. So then those people who are there to watch this story, all of them, they were being much more emotional, and they were telling us why you are not taking this to other countries or other organizations, or even to so many of embassies in Bangladesh. Why you are not going there? That time we came some kind of ideas, when same-minded people all you were together, there are so many of the brainstorming, and you get so many ideas. From there we got the idea to bring this to so many other countries as well. Then it was in mental health, global mental health advocacy network. So they wanted to bring this story there. So we had this story there as well. And then it was in Philippines actually. We had this second premiere over there. And then we wanted to bring this to some other embassies in Bangladesh. And we had a talk with Nordic embassies, and they had some kind of ideas of sex working in their own countries, especially in Sweden. So they have a Swedish model model, and they're very proud of that. So their core thought is sex working is something you are not doing it doing it with interest, but you are doing it forcefully. That is their thought. So and because of that thought, I can give a very short answer. That is, as a sex worker, I can't really, I can sell myself, but as a customer, you can't buy me. So it is the Swedish model, So I can sell myself. Police will not tell anything, but you are a customer. Police will harass you, or police can take you to any kind of charges. You got the point, maybe. It is kind of a situation. So then when we talk about these two Nordic embassies, and they are being a little bit reluctant with that because it is like it is not their core value within their country. Then we wanted to bring this into other perspective as well, because we wanted to bring these stories to their within their conversation, or maybe within their training progress for anything. And we are lucky enough to bring these stories there. We wanted to share these stories that we have developed this, and this is something within Bangladeshi community. These kind of stories also exist. So you don't need to promote it, but you just need to know it. That was our thought process, and we are lucky enough to make it happen. So that is the thing, and when we have some kind of initiative or some kind of training program, maybe our partner organization is doing some kind of conferences or something, we request them to bring these stories there as well, to showcase there as well. That's vast of this population. Most of them, they are very young. They wanted to know what is happening to Bangladesh. These kind of stories can make their perspective differently, make them more open to this society, maybe more open to gender diversity. So that was something we implemented, and we are committed to implement more of this. So we are hoping to get more of the more of the funding to bring more of the stories. So we are really looking forward to this.
Really, really incredible work there. Thank you so much for sharing that example with us. Now, just a follow-up question. You're working with marginalized communities, and some of the topics that you're issues that you're tackling are quite sensitive, or very sensitive within the context of the country or where you find yourself in that part of the world. Now, would you say, and you're a change maker, you're creating change, and change is normally not accepted by people, even though they say they want change, but when change is happening and they are uncomfortable, they don't want to accept it. Would you say, or in your experience so far, has your work faced any backlash within your community or your country? And if it has, how did you deal with that, or how did you come back from that?
Yeah, we got a lot of backlashes, not only from Bangladeshi community, but also our diaspora as well. We got a lot of backlashes from diaspora as well.
Oh wow!
Because,
tell us more.
Yeah, in that case, it is something when we have some kind of sometimes, especially after USAID funding cut or some other funding cuts, we wanted to have some kind of alternative funding. So we approached to our diaspora that you can also contribute so much more to this particular community in Bangladesh. And they are people are a little bit of reluctant. They more to helping poor women in madrasas, maybe some kind of schools where small kids can't really afford to go to school. So they're more into those, not into gender diverse population. So still they are living in developing countries, but still their thoughts and mind are still not that much of broad, and that is our observation in many ways. But yeah, not everybody is like that. That is the point, because our chairman is living in America, so she is amazing person. When we started, I'm a co-founder of Brave Revolution Global, and she is one of them. So then we had this discussion why we're not working with these particular issues, maybe we can have some kind of funding, and why we're not approaching to diaspora. And then she was there to approaching to the diaspora. So, and then she got these kind of backlashes, and she's a great ally of us because she's not part of our community. But then people started like stigmatize her, trying to tag her, like, okay, so you are supporting this cause, that means you are part of this community. So so this kind of stigmatize is there. And then when I'm coming to like in Bangladesh, it is there. It is always there because Constitution doesn't give us that right to like open up because with our gender identity, with our like sexual orientation or any other of our identity. So it is there. Then of course religion. There is. I love religion, but when it is about
religion is a big one. Yeah.
Religion is fantastic, when you are practicing something from your heart, that is amazing. But like if you're atheist, if you feel like that is what you believe, that is fantastic. So you are not, but when it is affecting some other people, then this is not okay. That is personally I believe so, because I'm part of like global interfaith network as well. So there, like gender diverse people are part of this interfaith like diversity and this platform as well. But when your belief and your thought process is affecting someone's life, then it is not okay. So and like if I go into that kind of like challenges, I would really make three of the comments, and that is very much connecting to Bangladesh and Bangladeshi political like platform. So right now we are under a like democratic process last 6 months, because we are under a like democratic elected government right now. But last 2 years we were under like a interim government, and that was headed by Dr. Muhammad Yunus, and he is a Nobel laureate, and we believe like he was the most liberal persons, like if we consider Bangladeshi like perspective or everything. But what we find it out that interim time, we had like mob violence within our community. Like, there was like some of the pro like establishment or pro like religious thought processed people. They started attacking gender diverse population, gender diverse like organizations, even the projects, even the people, activists, feminists, like everything. Even the women rights activists, they are being targeted by those pro-establishment. So we have been so much like we're surprised actually. First we were surprised, then we are like, oh my god, we're really hopeless. So
can imagine.
Because we have huge hope to Dr. Modi Yunus. We believe like he would protect us, his government would protect us, but they didn't protect us. In some cases, we started believing that like they were supporting this kind of mob violence, telling them that they are pressure group, believe it. But the thing is, like, it was an uprising in 2024, an uprising against Sheikh Hasina, and Sheikh Hasina was one of the like dictators, dictated Bangladesh 17 years without any kind of vote, without any kind of democratic process. So we were being very much into that kind of like situation, that we want vote, we want election, we want elected democratic process to continue for Bangladesh, because Bangladesh is a beautiful country and it should be in that way, in any like democratic process. So then the uprising happened. Sheikh Hasina was overthrown and she's still living in India. India gave the shelter. Then we had this right now, as I said, like last 6 months we are under this democratic elected process, and government is still coping with so many of the mob violence and so many of the like criminals to tackle with. But what we are suffering, that is I want to bring, like, the challenges, as I mentioned. Right now, still when I'm talking to you, so many of our members are being attacked by religious activists, religious scholars. They are everywhere in social media. There are so many of the followers, because Bangladesh is 90% of majority who are from Muslim. It's a Muslim majority country, so 90% of the population is from Muslim majority community. So they are everywhere. When they are saying something, it doesn't matter if it is right or wrong. If they're saying something, people are following them. People are like hating our activism. People are hating like feminists. People are hating you know, even some of the embassies has been attacked by their words, I'd say. So yeah, so it is there. These challenges are there.
You know, speaking of religion, we can go on and on because that's a whole conversation, on its own. And you live in a very religious country or community. And as you said, the kind of like disparity between like the work that you're doing and also the religious beliefs and teachings and doctrines, of the different religious communities. How do you think in the future, just kind of like looking for, how do you think religion and intersectional feminism can be connected or can marry each other so that you can intersectional feminism can advance, or you can advance in the work that you're doing as a change maker?
Yeah, religion, politics, like society, all of these are very much like interconnected. And when it is about what changes doesn't come like very like in a short period of time. It takes so much a long time. But the motivation is like you need to continue it. The backlash is there, the challenges are there, but there are hopes. First hope is like the global solidarity. When so many of the change makers are doing so much incredible work in this world, this gives you the hope, like to bring together, just to make stronger alliances, make stronger platforms. This is a platform like Redemption Global, me, you, and then like GAN coming, like have this kind of collaboration, and this makes a stronger commitment. That is what I personally I believe in. Redemption Global team believes, and what we are doing within our core value, that is like this intersectionality of young and adults partnership. So what we believe, like only young or only adult people can't like bring something together. If they are together, they can bring something much more like impactful. So that is one of the core values I would love to like mention it here. And when like young and adult people we sit together, then we bring like this old perspective with young dynamism. It comes with this religion, it comes with this atheism, atheist thing, like the days then agnostic thought process, and the theories, the old and like young theories. So everything comes together. But the thing is, like when something is very much blind, like if you blindly believe on religion, then I feel like there is problem. You must question something that is not okay according to you. So of course, like when it is religion, it is the belief that is we understand. But what about other people's belief? When you are blindly following religion, and you are just hating other people, then there is something you also need to think again. Mm-hmm. That is what I believe personally. And and as I told you earlier, when this kind of like solidarity is there, then we want this like interfaith dialogue as well, and there it is happening within our communities. We have some kind of interfaith dialogue, like what is their perspective, what is our perspective. We are in a same room, and we are talking about that. We have this kind of communication programs as well, like not only with like the religious leaders, but also like the political leaders as well. What was their thought process, like hating gender-based population? Then we have some kind of like very much like rightist, who are much more like not like taking everything easily. They always like have some kind of questions about like why you are a sex worker, why you have to earn this like dirty money, why you are drug addict, then why you have to go against Bangladeshi constitution, like why you are bringing like Western culture in Bangladesh. So they have this kind of question always. So we have something like this is also kind of like a global perspective. to Grassroots that personally I brought. Of course, all of our activists we brought this here in Bangladesh, that you don't need to like me, but you don't need to hate me either. This kind of like strategic dialogues we really like to formulate much more, and this kind of like, and we are calling it like some kind of like ideas to counter those kind of hatred, online hatred especially, because those people are very much organized. That is what is our observation. That religious scholar, then the rightists, they're very much organized. They know how to attack you, where to attack you. So they know this very well. Then what we are doing, we're trying to have some kind of like making some kind of like agreement within ourselves. Like no matter what, we need to be like stick together. We need to bring this global solidarity like into Bangladesh perspective. And what we're doing right now, we're doing exactly the same thing. We are getting united, and we'll be there. And as you know, like we have very much of segregating community. So we have like Hijra community, we have trans community, then we have like so many other people working together. So we are trying to bring all this perspective, all this thought process and activism together, and we'll be there. We'll be there soon, and we are really hoping to come forward with this kind of like attitude, theory, and work.
Thank you so much for sharing those examples with us, and also for the fact that you still keep on doing this despite the backlash. I mean, that's inspiring, because not everybody has that kind of resilience to still keep going on when they have all these forces fighting against them. But thank you so much for not giving up the fight. So moving on, we may have touched a bit on this, but you can give it a bit more like kind of like maybe go a bit more detail. So intersectional feminism recognizes that people experience discrimination differently based on factors such as race, class, disability, sexuality, and geography. How do you incorporate these realities into your work and decision making?
Yeah, I already talked about that a little bit of maybe more I can say it here. So the thing is that when we really like to propose something to donor or for funder, we really love to make this intersectional part all together. It is not only for one section of this community, but also whole intersectional part of this community, to bring any kind of project proposal or any kind of event or any kind of programs. Really, we really like to bring all of the intersectional part all together, but not as a token. That is the differences. So we really like to create leadership within all of the intersectional part. That is one of the progressive part what Brave Dimension Global is doing. Coming to that part of funders and donors, we really are trying to get some kind of knowledge from the donors, why they only like to have some kind of head count, or this intersectional part or that intersectional part, bring them together as a token. So we really like to bring that perspective as well from the donors, why they like it. So we wanted to change that perspective from the donors, and we are trying to make this kind of advocacy, this funding advocacy, and this kind of negotiation as well with the donors. When you are also donating, it is not an easy money. It is the money is very much for something to implement, and that is very much meaningful. That is also the thought process, right? So we have the same kind of thought process. But the thing is, when these kind of project proposals are for gender diverse population, so the leadership should be coming from our part. It is not only some people just sitting together or putting something okay, so this kind of project proposal is only for this particular population, and they are just counting the head, or they are just making as a token. But we want much more from them. We want to part of that kind of initiative, that when some proposal is there, we want to part of the proposal as well. When you are initiating something, we want to part of that as a leadership position, that maybe 2 or 3% from our community should be there. They should say what they need. They should say what they like what is the feasibility of this kind of project proposal. You are coming to Bangladesh, you are proposing something that is, and maybe 2 years or 3 years your project is done and you are not here. But what is happening? What is the impact of that project proposal? What is the impact of the project? So that is what we are trying to negotiate with the donors as well. Not bringing your perspective to Bangladesh, but our perspective. This is something very much hard though, because right now NGOs are suffering because of the funding cut and everything is there. So yeah, we're trying to bring this kind of intersectional part into those kind of project proposal, to that kind of training program. And one of the core goals of Brave Dimension Global and some other gender diverse organization right now in Bangladesh is more focus on education. Because what we find it out, if you are educated, if you are independent, if you have a good job, if you have have your own dignified job or dignified kind of a lifestyle, then you can overcome many things, And when you don't have education, you don't have a good job, you are dependent on your family, you are dependent on your partner, you are dependent on many things, even government. Then you have less chance to independent yourself. You have less chance to say what you want to say, So education is a very core part, and we believe education can bring this kind of independence to our community. So we are more focused on this educational part, and we really like to say it out loud that donors or funders, even the government, should initiate more money for this kind of educational program for gender diverse populations. So that is the last thing I want to say. Maybe it is about these kind of questions.
Great. Thank you so much for highlighting some of these challenges. But I think you've kind of answered the question that I'm about to ask you now, but then feel free to add onto it. So in your experience, what are some of the biggest challenges that the communities that you work with, that specifically gender diverse communities, face? And what are some of the strategies that you found useful in addressing some of these challenges?
I will come with the strategies first. Strategies is what framing. You have to know where you are, what you're talking about. Then what kind of program you are. So you can be an activist. You can say it loud within your community, but your word should be framed in different ways. So you have to be very strategic in that way, using the word framing. That is the first thing. Second thing is you need to be strategic with your attitude as well. When you are a feminist, or when you are a leader, or so you have so many followers. So you shouldn't do something that can affect your community. So a single member or individual can do many things, but when you are a leader, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have that kind of how can I formulate this? A single member can do many things, but as a leader, you shouldn't follow that kind of attitude or that kind of activities. The differences. Because a single member is a single member, but you are a leader. So many of the members are following you, right? If you are doing something bad, that can affect the community, the whole community. That is what I wanted to say. Right now, the gender diverse community is facing so many backlashes from educational institutes. I can give an example from Bangladesh, Dhaka University. In recent, I think within a month, I think 6 or 7 gender diverse population members, and they are students of Dhaka University. They have been expelled from their hall, and some cases from their institute, because of their sexual orientation. So that is something we are facing right now, and there gender diverse population is using some kind of apps. So in many ways, that makes them much more vulnerable, because in Bangladesh, so many of the young people, and they are using apps not only for having fun, but also earning some money. So that is another thing. The money is not coming in that way, threatening that I will show your family, I will tell your family that you are this. So those kind of blackmailing is there within the using the app. So that is another challenge young people are right now facing. So I really not recommend everyone to use the app, or maybe you are using the app, but of course you need to be very, very much careful whom you are going to meet. So we have this kind of like discussion within our community, within our like activists, that how we can make sure that these apps are safe, so yeah, we will be there, because right now we are trying to like negotiate with some of the companies like who have these apps. So, but Bangladesh is a Bangladesh is right now is a developing country. In many ways it is not developed, it is not developing as well. So I can say like it is like underdeveloped country. So in that way, so we have very hard time to negotiate with those kind of companies, because they are very much they have their own kind of things, how this kind of capitalism flows in this world. So we have this kind of negotiation, but let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that example with us, or examples with us. It's quite unfortunate that people get expelled because of their sexuality from university in Bangladesh. So in cases like that, how do you kind of work together with, is it the universities or any other like any collaborations with other organizations to resolve this issue?
Thing is like this is a very kind of like a upsetting thing, I'm going to say, because it is also part of feminism as well. So there are some feminist organizations, like when they had this kind of backlash from this pro-establishment or like the religious scholars. So that time we were there in their movement, like being part of the journey. Like we were there to like protest against this kind of like discrimination against women, against feminists, against feminist projects and everything. And when we had this kind of backlashes, our organization were being like attacked, our people were being attacked, our activists were being attacked. We didn't get any kind of responses from them. So those kind of that was I was telling, like this is upsetting, and this kind of like our organization, they have this kind of project, like when they have this kind of initiative, they like make us part of their initiative. But when we are being attacked, when we are into some kind of vulnerable situation, they never showed up. So that is something very upsetting. So we are trying to have that kind of conversation with them as well. Like if you can't be there because of this kind of backlash or this kind of like your reputation issues, at least give a statement. Like at least be there. Maybe you have a parent organization. If I give an example, like Plan International Bangladesh. That is I think they are working in Bangladesh, but Plan International is a mother organization, right? So Plan International Bangladesh can't give that statement, but Plan International can give. So these kind of things we are trying to negotiate with. And very recently we are having some kind of anti-gender movement within our community. We're trying to make our allies much more like bigger, and making them understand like this kind of situation, how they can be there for us. Like in that case, they have that fear, maybe that if they're part of our journey, maybe their project will be affected, maybe their journey will be affected. Maybe tomorrow there will be mob attack to their organization. So this kind of vulnerability is there, but we're trying to have some kind of common ground, that together we are much more stronger and we need to stick together. So we're still there, So those kind of strategies we're trying to like formulate within our day-to-day life.
Thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying that a bit more. And I mean, it's such a shame that things like that still happen in 2026. But then it's good to see people like yourself who are actually pushing for some of these changes, or should I say, advocating for some of these people in these communities. So thank you for the incredible work that you're doing in Bangladesh. Now, how do you think, moving forward, organizations, policymakers, and development partners can move beyond representation towards meaningful inclusion of gender diverse voices in leadership and decision-making spaces?
So, in that way, how can I say? I think I almost told now, like that. thing what we would say. So what more I can say?
Yeah. If you'd like to add like anything like more, yeah, go ahead.
Well, the thing is like togetherness is the last thing I want to mention. So we are right now into that kind of phase of like togetherness that bring like some kind of unity and that brings some kind of different perspective. And we like, if you know, in South Asia we have some kind of like in Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan we have like hijra culture that is like beyond this soji frame, you know, because and this is not very new. It was coming from maybe years and years of like cultural journey within these three countries. So hijra culture is much more recognized by Bangladeshi government and in Bangladesh as well. So they are much more like far front. So we are trying to like make them much more like encouragement coming in front with these kind of issues, because they have acceptance within Bangladeshi society. So what else I haven't mentioned? Of course, I love to mention like the progressive Gen Z. So Gen Z is very much progressive in Bangladesh, and that uprising happened in 2024. Gen Z was the like leaders. They were the leader, you know, leaders in that journey, and gender diverse population was there for of course with the support of that journey as well. What else? Okay, so we're trying to develop some kind of like global solidarity as well and global partnership as well. It is not only funding but also some kind of advocacy for funding, advocacy for like some kind of like pressure to the government as well. You know, we are part of UN Charter as well. So when something is happening, some kind of gender-based violence happening, some kind of mob violence is happening, we're trying to make some kind of report to UN. We're trying to develop some kind of report and send it to UN, send it to Human Rights Committee, send it to some other like other organization like Amnesty International, to like let them know that this is happening to Bangladesh, this is happening what we expected, but this is not happening. This is not protecting our like stability, our dignity or something. So we're trying to make this kind of like documentation, and we would like to make our government accountable. So that is what we are like doing from our organization, from our partner organization, from our ally organization, and in that way you also can be part of that journey as well. That is the last thing I maybe want to like urge or maybe request, that if something is happening to our community, maybe I can send some kind of like document or some kind of like this paragraph to you that this is happening. Maybe one statement can help us. One statement, maybe your partner organization, or maybe you can distribute this kind of like news to your partner organizations, and then we can be much more bigger, and just to when this kind of stories, this kind of news spreads, there is some kind of like resistance from within the community as well, to protest against this kind of like mob violence or something. So yeah, so in that way, like we can be connected, like maybe from today to next journey, next kind of ventures, we will be together. That is the hope.
Yeah, in any way that we can support, like just please do let us know. Like I said, my co-founder Lemona Chanda is from Bangladesh, so she would know more about like most of the things that we've talked about today. But yeah, definitely do let us know. Our doors are open in any way that we can help or be of help. So we've talked a lot about the work that you've done, the challenges, and some of the backlashes that you faced, and how you've kind of navigated that, and still not lost hope, and still you keep on pushing. So for young leaders like yourself in the same kind of field, like also working in intersectional feminism, how do you think they can be supported, whether it's by government, because we've mentioned government a lot in our conversation? How do you think government institutions or the government can support young activists like yourself to lead effectively in this kind of work?
Earlier, like we have huge young population in Bangladesh right now, and that if we properly use them, Bangladesh, nobody can stop Bangladesh. That is a very like bold like statement from my side, and I'm very much confident about that. We must do some kind of like changes in our educational section. We need comprehensive sexuality education that should be introduced within our like curriculum. This is much more important. We need to make our students sensitize about gender diverse population. Like they're not aliens; they're part of our community. This particular community must be addressed with like in a positive way within the curriculum. That is what I believe, and I really urge our government, maybe not this government, maybe not that government, but maybe within they should have some kind of like sensitivity for this community, And then there was a trans bill that is still not, that was been part of previous government, like Sheikh Hasina government, and they wanted the trans bill to come forward with the transgender activist, transgender movement, transgender right, and everything, including Hijra community, but it stopped. So we really like it to come forward. So then we must implement some kind of meaningful like programs from government, not only like kind of a training program or not only that workshop and that knowledge like fair, but something meaningful, maybe some kind of skill building training, maybe some language building training. So many of Bangladeshi, they want to go for like higher studies. So we really like our government to like implement some kind of language building training. Then it should be something like some young people, they can be, today they are students, maybe tomorrow they will leave this country, so they should be much more like welcoming to all the community who are like part of this country, right? So like we have huge like we have a diversity of this kind of like the population, so they need to be much more open. They shouldn't like follow some people like who are like blindly following something, some thoughts or ideology. So that is I really like to mention. Like we have huge hope. So government can do much more, and of course NGOs must support our government as well. Our government can't do it alone, but NGOs and some like social organization can help like implementing this kind of meaningful like initiative with the government, like with the government, for supporting the government. That is the best thing.
Thank you so much. So apart from funding, I think the government can also do more to work closely with people like you, with organizations like Brave Dimension Global, to enact policies, better policies, and towards systematic changes in the community, and maybe even working with religious leaders as well. I think that would also really help, especially in a very deeply religious community or country like Bangladesh.
As I mentioned earlier, like we have this interfaith like dialogues with these religious leaders. Then we have like these dialogues with politicians, because they are the future, or maybe they are leading the policies, right? They can modify, they can change, they can like revoke, they can do a lot of things with the constitution, with the policies and everything. So we have these kind of dialogues with them as well. But another thing that I love to mention, like it was kind of like a fun way we started talking about this, because why we gender diverse population don't have a political party? Why we are not like initiating any political party? Why we are part of political party? Why we don't have any political party? So we have this kind of like of course it is not it is in a fun way we had this discussion. But yeah, like we're trying to like some kind of navigating some kind of like a sensitive politicians. We are trying to like connect with them, that they can hear the horse's mouth. They can just like they can get the information from horse's mouth, because we have some kind of like some kind of division, maybe some kind of like, as I said, like the stigma is there. So sometimes as a non-binary person, I also don't like to like say it straightforward when I'm meeting some politician, maybe there is a filter as well. But sometimes when you are meeting that person one to one, there is chance to like tell that person that this is also happening to this community. This community needs this. So so that this policy is there, and if you can just work with this policy, it can give you some kind of benefit as well. It can give you some kind of recognition as well, and this particular community will be benefited by your that small changes. So yeah, that kind of things are there as well. So we're trying harder.
Yeah, indeed you are. Thank you so much for that. Now, looking ahead, what is your vision as a change maker that's been doing this for years? What is your vision for a more inclusive and equitable world? And what actions can individuals take to help amplify gender diverse voices in their own communities?
First thing, I'd really like to touch on the education sector again, because as I said, like education gives you the independence. So, and right now what is happening, like especially within the young force, they are very much like desperate to say what their identity is, and when they are depending on their families is not willing to take them that kind of independence. So the clash is there. So we are trying to make them understand that, okay, so when you will be like financially independent, when you will be educated enough to like give you the shelter, not depending on your family or your partner. So that time you should explore that kind of like thing, or maybe that kind of like practice to your family. Maybe before that you should be very strategic as well. But these people are very much straightforward. They want it right now. They want to say their family that I am this person and you need to give me that kind of right. So it is there. So that is one thing, education. Then second thing is I'd love to say like Bangladesh is very vulnerable to like climate change. So many of the young people are into climate justice. So they are like part of the global climate change, like alliances and everything. So these people should also know like climate change is, or climate justice comes with gender justice as well. So when there is climate justice, there is gender justice. So we can't really segregate it. You have to make it accommodated. So that thing, and then the alternative funding. I really love to like mention it here. We must have alternative funding. We can't really depend on the fundings. Maybe Donald Trump is today. Maybe there will be another person tomorrow. So you need to think in that way as well. Global solidarity, that also I already mentioned, and I love to mention it like again and again and again. That is very much important, because when we are stronger, we are much more like when we are united, we are much more stronger. When we are stronger, we can do so many of the changes. So yeah, like much more. And when it is about like Bangladeshi community, Bangladeshi society, we should avoid judgmental. That is, I can hope for. I can be whatever I am, as long as I am not like harming something for you, or harming anything for your dignity, or anything that can harm you, right? So, and the dialogue I gave you earlier, you don't need to like hate me, you don't need to like me, doesn't matter, but like just don't hate me, you don't need to like me, you don't need to hate me either. So it is the dialogue. So yeah,
I really like that quote. You don't need to hate me, you don't need to like me, but don't hate me. Yeah, it's really it's powerful. Okay, so we are almost at the end of our conversation today. Thank you so much for all the brilliant insights and knowledge that you shared with us. So just kind of asking you, these questions are just coming like from me like right now. So the first one is, tell us a bit more about, you've kind of made references to Brave Dimension Global and the work that you've been doing, but tell us a bit more about what you've been doing maybe in recent times with the work that you're doing with maybe your volunteers or your staff, or just the people that you work with. And also, what does the future look like for Brave Dimension Global? And what has your experience been like collaborating with other organizations as well. So it's kind of like a 2 or 3 in 1 question. So in recent times, what has it been like with working with whether it's organizations or other institutions towards reaching advancing human rights in Bangladesh, and also what does the future look like for Brave Dimension Global?
Okay, regarding Brave Dimension Global, what we are doing right now, like we have some kind of initiative that is really like out of the like the common norms. That is like we have some kind of like initiative with mental health issues. That is like we call it activist night out. So we all together come into like maybe into today's that place. We spend whole night together. We talk, we chit chat, we pitch around. We have so many of the information we share. Like it is not only like the like the emergency issues or something is happening to our life, but also something very fun with. So that helps with our mental health issues. So you know like how our work is, right? It is very much into like pressure, some kind of challenges, so much of the like this member is happening, that member is happening, that staff is suffering with that. So when we come to our house back at the night, we have so many of this kind of like things happening into our mind that okay, so we need that kind of relief as well, you know. So that initiative we started, and it's a successful one. Then what we're doing, we're trying to like have some kind of like common ground within our like staffs and our volunteers as well. Like if something is bothering you, say it loud. It is not only with me but also within the group. Say it. Then and within our organization, we believe that when there is conversation, there is solution, and we believe in that. So we have this conversation always. If something is happening, we say it loud. We don't keep it within ourselves. You know? We are very much vocal with what is happening to us. In that way, I think many of the organizations still like right now is practicing this in Bangladesh, to say it loud, not like keeping it within yourself. It will give you some kind of mental trauma later on, maybe not right now. And of course, internal clash as well. Like if something is happening and you are keeping it within yourself, then later on it comes with a bomb like blast. You know? So just keep it cool and calm in that way. And with Brave Dimension Global, it is coming with a Bangladeshi registration, and then we have a new name. And I told you like it would be like within Bangladesh Social Welfare Ministry. So their new name will be Brave Dimension Social Welfare Society. So we mentioned Brave Dimension Global as a US organization, and Brave Dimension Social Welfare Society as a Bangladeshi organization. So we keep both of the entities together. So I'm the president and co-founder of both of them. So in that way, we're trying to like having this like this extension of this kind of like journey as well. And regarding office spaces, we have right now 3 office spaces in 2 in Bangladesh and 1 is in America. So one is in Dhaka, one is in the North Bengal. It's one of the biggest cities in North Bengal. So we have some kind of like a good wish to like expand it, maybe much more like offices. If there is project and there is some money coming to that, so that is possible as well. And of course, like partner organization, what we are really right now seeking, and more likely to like coming with some kind of like network. So we are building a huge network, and right now when I'm talking to you, I'm board member of Swedish Institute Alumni Network Bangladesh. So, and Swedish Institute have huge exposure. I think 37 countries they have this network. So personally, I'm part of that. So when I'm part of that, I really like to Brave Dimension Global part of that network as well. I'm the publicity secretary of marginalized community network in Bangladesh as well. So we have 30 of the organization who are from marginalized community. This whole 30 organization, we have allies. We have a coalition. So I'm publicity secretary there. So when I'm there, so I'm in the board. So I try to like have this kind of like partnership, like personally with Brave Dimension Global, and of course like organizationally. So we try to have this kind of like understanding that we need to be together, we need to stick together, and we need to bring that whole like perspective in a positive way that other people can also understand us. As I said, not hate us, but just to like us in many ways. You know? we are very much creative person. That is what we believe. We have so many of the creativity. We have so many of the like progressive persons. We need some kind of little bit of much more like opportunity. And if governments give us that opportunity, we can shine this country. So yeah.
Amazing. And would you like to see Brave Dimension maybe in other countries, branches in other countries in the future?
That is really we're not there. As I said, like we are right now focusing on Bangladesh, and we have some partner organization in so many of the countries. So in that way, if there is coalition, we're there. And I mentioned earlier, right? As a non-binary person, I was representing Bangladesh in the non-binary company, and Red Dimension Global is the only country in Bangladesh who have this non-binary thought process. And if there is anything happening within the queer platform or non-binary platform, Red Dimension Global will be there. That I can ensure. And we're trying to have some kind of membership to some of the like the world's global network. So we have applied to some of them. We got some of the recognition. We got some of the membership. We are underway with some of the memberships as well. So that also gives us that kind of like visibility and the recognition. So yeah, and of course we have some like a small share place in America as well. So if Bangladeshi diaspora in America, they have these kind of issues, or they have some kind of refugee issues or asylum seeking issues. So we have like a representation there as well. So they can give us that kind of like knock, and we can help as from our perspective we can help that information.
Incredible. So it sounds like you already have quite a number of partners in different countries, partner organizations, and you're already spreading your tentacles already. So I'm sure you're already going global. You're already global actually as it stands. So kudos to you.
We have the name of global as well.
Yeah, exactly. So kudos to you and your team for the incredible work. So finally, what are your final words for us, for anyone who listened, or anyone who will watch this in the future, and anyone maybe who's starting out this journey, whether it's in within this field of intersectional feminism, or wants to be a change maker, advocating for human rights, whatever issue that they want to sort of like challenge or fight in their communities? What final words or what advice do you have for them? And in case anyone wants to reach out to you, please put out your social media handles.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, because it is very important to bringing the perspective in a positive way. So that is I tried from my own way. The thing is I don't consider myself as a human rights activist or animal rights activist. I just say myself as a right-based activist, and that is it is core of me. So if you want to you want to make this beautiful world a better place, just be a right-based activist. That will give you much more energy and much more positivity, because animal also need that kind of rights. One day human they also need right. So that also give you that kind of broader perspective beyond this human right activism. So if I can formulate it right, you understand. So yeah, so you can speak for everyone, even the entity that can't really speak. So yeah, that is the last thing I can say. And of course, my email address, my Dimension Global, we have the website. It is www.dimension.org. Then my personal email address is mirriyad@hotmail.com. And yeah, anybody who is interested to know more about Dimension Global or my activism or our work in Bangladesh, especially with gender diverse population, they can reach out to you. You have every social media thing over to you as well. So yeah, maybe next time we can have much more of this program, maybe much more of this kind of
absolutely
conversation as well.
Yeah, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much on behalf of the whole team at Ghana, like on personal like level. I'd like to thank you so much for making our time for this conversation. It's such an important conversation, very timely, and looking at the incredible work that you're doing. I mean, it's inspiring to see like people like you still, they're challenging some of these societal norms, in our time. So thank you so much for coming to thank you so much for coming to share your thoughts, your insights, and the experiences that you've had so far. It's been an inspiring conversation. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, and good night.
Thank you. So yeah, that was it for our webinar today, this month, where we spoke to Mir Abu Reyad, all the way from Bangladesh, who is doing incredible work in intersectional feminism. I do hope that you've been inspired one way or the other to take action or to make an impact in your own community, whether it's within this field or in another field. It all helps. I mean, little drops of water, they say, make a mighty ocean, and together we can all create change within our communities. Like he said, there's a quote that or something that he said about, you don't have to, like me, you don't have to don't hate me, don't like me, or just I'm kind of messing it around, but yeah, just don't hurt me, yeah, something like that. So yeah, thank you for that very inspiring quote. So today we've spoken to Mr. Riyad on the topic Grassroots to Global, leading with intersectional feminism and amplifying gender diverse voices. It's been an inspiring conversation. My name is Gertrude Asumedu, and I'm one of the co-founders of GAN Global Activist Network. If you're not following us already on our socials, we are on LinkedIn and Facebook as Global Activist Network. We are also on Twitter or X and Instagram as GAN Leadership. You can also check us out on our website, www.gan.org.uk, where you find all the incredible programs and events that we are running on a yearly basis. We have our Changemaker Spotlight program, where you can nominate yourself or any other change maker within your community that's making incredible impact. You can also find us on Spotify. We have our podcast, the Global Voice Podcast, where we speak to inspiring change makers who are also working tirelessly towards Agenda 2030 and beyond. We are also on YouTube, Global Activist Network, where we have all our monthly webinars at. So please do subscribe, check us out there as well. Yeah, it's been a pleasure hosting this webinar today. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks with another incredible conversation with another expert in another field. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.